and welcome to the Seahawkers podcast from the Podium. I'm Brandon Schultz. We heard from just about every important leader on the Seahawks in the run-up to the big matchup with the Denver Broncos, including some of the new captains like wide receiver Tyler Lockett.
Man, that was truly a blessing. That was the first time I've ever gotten voted captain in the NFL, and I think it just says a lot about how my teammates feel about me. I feel like I don't have to do anything different. Just got to keep being myself and doing what's always kept me here and what's got me here. But I think the biggest thing is just it makes me feel, good about myself, understanding what I bring to the table, understanding how my peers and the coaches and everybody around me views me. And so it's not about me getting lost in that, but it's like a humbling experience for me to kind of understand the position that I'm in this year with our team.
Before we hear more from Tyler, let's hear why Rashaad Penny thought the longtime Seahawk was the right choice as a captain.
I feel like he deserves it. The guy just say all the right words. Like, I was over there listening to everything he said, and it was just literally right on. Ever since I've been here, he's just always been positive, always uplifted. He's never had a bad day. I've never seen him in a moment where he's just off on his own and just the ego guy. But Tyler is literally the best thing that happened to a lot of guys here, and I really appreciate him. And I feel like it was a lot of guys that congratulated him for that because he deserves it.
Special teams ace Nick Bellore also reflected on being elected as a captain and the ways he'll be wielding his power.
It was awesome. Obviously, I think it's more of a testament to the young guys sorting our ages in descending order, and they picked Al and I first, I think. But no, it's great that they think of us as leaders, and it's an honor to be a captain on this team. Not so much for me. It's more it's a title that I have that I can use to leverage young guys to do stuff for me around the facility. So errands and things that have to be bought and snacks and that kind of stuff. I have obviously something on my chest that I can show them that they have to, just chain of command stuff.
Quandre Diggs joins Al Woods as defensive captain. Here are Diggs' thoughts on the role.
It means everything, honestly, because all I really care about was the respect inside of this building for my teammates, my coaches. That's been the most important thing for me. It's just having the respect. Like I said, it means everything. Those guys voted me and voted Big Al as the leaders of this defense. And, we got to take that serious. So, but it's even cooler, to be a captain with one of my best friends in Tyler Lockett. So it's something that we couldn't even imagine when we was training for the combine. We always said that we couldn't be teammates because we play around and joke too much, and that wouldn't work in the NFL. But, if you look at us now, we still the same guys that we were in 2015. And, we just a little bit older, but, we always playing around, joking around. And, we got an inside joke of, we know one person that didn't expect this out of us. And people that know us, they know who it is. And it's just cool for this opportunity to be a leader of this team, a team that I watched growing up. And, you see all the great players here before and be a leader here. It's super dope.
Before we return to Tyler, Diggs expanded on just how nice it is that the pair of longtime friends are now captains together.
We actually got close our senior year in college. Started out really, really competitive, really, really not liking each other at all because, we were going against each other every game. And I think our senior year, we just kind of knew that we were two of the better players in the draft or, two of the better people. And my older brother and Lockett's uncle are really close. And I think that just kind of even made it a little bit different where it was like, we might be able to train together in the combine. And I'll never forget after the game, we were like, hey, I'm going to hit you up on Twitter, bro. And Locke was like, yeah, that'd be dope if we train together. And fast forward 2 or 3 months later, we were training together and you couldn't get us and our group apart. It was, it was like 5 or 6 of us. And it was just me, Tyler, and Landon Collins and Trey Waynes and, Quentin Rollins and guys like that. And we still doing it, So I think that's the dope part of you never know when, you'll meet somebody and they become one of your better friends and somebody that, that you look up to, but, you also compete against every day.
Of course, Tyler replaces Russell Wilson as offensive captain. Here was Lockett's response when asked if the fans should cheer for Russ.
I have no idea because I can't control what anybody else says or what anybody else does. But I know that when I see him, go give him a hug, talk to him, all that different type of stuff, like wish him good luck, not only in this game, but for the rest of the season and for the rest of his career as we continue to talk, outside of football and stuff like that. But I mean, Russ has done so much for this community, even being able to start the school that him and his wife, Sierra, started. I mean, that's awesome, and that speaks volumes. I don't even know the first steps of how to start a school or even who to talk to or any of that. And so just everything that he did, everything that he brought, even here, he was Walter Payton Man of the Year. You know what I'm saying? So that says a lot about what he's done in this community. We heard about the things that he did when COVID had ended up coming up at first, and they were given to a lot of big places just to be able to help out as much as they can. I mean, at the end of the day, I get it. It's football. It's competitive. You never want to see people leave, but you got to understand that everybody has to do what's best for them. And that's what you have to be able to learn about this life is you got to cheer people on. You know what I mean? You can't get mad that people go to another team and this, and this. And I mean, we're fans, right? So we learn it the hard way. I'm a fan when it comes to NBA. I get mad when people leave because I want them to stay on the same team, right? But at the end of the day, you got to be able to separate the man from the player. And you got to understand that everybody's trying to do what's best for them. And all you can do is hope that they win and cheer for them to win. And so, I mean, that's really how I feel about it. I think that Seattle should cheer him on, for everything that he's done, helped bring a Super Bowl to this community, all that different type of stuff. Like, he's an amazing guy.
Lockett also spoke on what he thinks the experience of seeing Russ on another team will be like.
It's always weird being in the NFL and you get attached to people and you meet people, you meet their families, you become best friends and great friends, and then all of a sudden they just leave. It's hard, because we got to learn how to adapt every day. And in the NFL, it's kind of different because you see people come and go all the time. But in my career, Russ has always been here. And so, of course, it's weird that he's leaving and stuff like that. But that's when you kind of got to renew your mind and shift your mind and be able to understand that you're still celebrating him for who he is and you're still cheering him on. It's just you don't get to see him every day like you used to. But it doesn't mean that the friendship doesn't stay. You still got the friendship. You still got the brotherhood. And you know that he's being able to lead his team the way that he led us here. You know that he's being able to bring the creative ideas, all that different type of stuff. You just don't get to see it anymore. But the thing about it is that's why you got to learn how to appreciate people while they're here. And it's like that even with death. You got to appreciate people for who they are, and what they bring. And the more and more that you do that, the more you understand that at some point in time as people go to heaven or when people go to like new stages of their life, you start realizing like I got the chance to enjoy every minute with this person. Now I get to learn how to enjoy it even though they're not here, but just through long distance conversations.
Because of the trade, some assume there will be extra excitement in week 1.
I mean, you got emotion because it's the first game. You know what I mean? But you got to be able to learn how to control everything, because there's so many stories and there's so many things that can get talked about. And at the end of the day, you just got to be able to, like I say, simplify everything and just understand that it's another game. And at the end of this game, it's another game. And at the end of that game, it's another game. And, so you don't want to make games bigger than what it really is. And so you just got to be able to, like I said, balance it out. And everybody balances it out differently. But the thing that I've learned is regardless if you go into a game super hype, you got to learn how to play like that. If you go into a play nervous and fearful, you got to learn how to play like that. If you're anxious, you got to learn how to play like that. You got to learn how to play in every state of mind. That way you don't feel like you always have to be ready to play. Some days you might not feel like playing and you still got to learn how to play when you don't feel like it. So that's the biggest thing that I've learned, even with the question that was asked, is learning how to play in all circumstances rather than learning how to play when you feel like you're ready.
Finally, Lockett spoke about his response to the national media's low expectations for the Hawks.
Hey, if they don't think that we're going to be good, we ain't got nothing to lose. Like those are scariest teams to play against. It's teams that ain't got nothing to lose but everything to gain. You don't have to get caught up in the media because nobody cares about you. They're not talking about you. Not you guys. You guys care about us. But I'm saying the outside people outside of the Seahawks, I think, we got a different team. And because of that, everybody has their own opinions of who we are or who we're going to be. and stuff like that. And if it turns out to be like that, then all they're going to say is, I told you so. But what if it doesn't turn out to be like that? Then all of a sudden you're just shifting everybody else's perspective. And so for us, I think all we got to do is just buy into what it is that we're trying to do, understand how to push each other, understand how to be able to go to a different level. Everybody else, they don't see what we see every single day. They don't grind the way that we grind or even see how better we're getting each and every day. You guys got the chance to be able to see it, you know, for those who were here when we were practicing camp. Y'all just didn't report it as much, which is good, right? But y'all got to see how far we've come from when we first started to where we are now. Not everybody else who's looking in on the outside. So at the end of the day, probably some media people don't even believe what they say. They just got to find a story that's going to work and that's going to sell and that's going to get clicks. But for us, we just got to believe in ourselves.
Next up, DK Metcalf spoke about the challenges posed by Denver's secondary.
Yeah, they had a talented secondary. You know, Surtain was real good. I played against him at Bama his freshman year. And Simmons is an established safety as well. They got, another safety is Kareem, who's been established as well. So, I mean, they got a veteran secondary that's going to give us, a challenge up front as well as on the back end. So just looking to take that challenge head on and just see, what we can do when we snap the ball.
He also talked about his feelings about the rematch with Russ and whether it will carry any extra emotions.
I thank him for, everything he taught me while he was here. But I know this is a business. And, it was a business decision on his end and the team's end, for him to move on. Same with Bobby. I still talk to them, regularly, probably once a week. But, like I said, it's just a business decision. I took my emotions out of it. We're still good friends, still brothers at the end of the day. Because it's the first game of the season, I think everybody's going to be emotional. Everybody's going to be jacked up just to get back out there on the field. But, a lot of people are going to try to, bring a lot of drama around this game. But it's just the Broncos versus the Seahawks on Monday night.
Here are Bellore's thoughts on Russ's return.
I'm not sure how the fans will take it. Obviously, Russ was a great player for tons of years here. And, it's kind of, it's exciting for us to just have a matchup like this so early on in the season, Monday Night Football. And anytime you get to play like that, it's always going to be fun. And, we'll see what happens.
On a less serious note, Bellore also gave an update on his famous show, Between Two Bellores.
Yes, we have some stuff that should be out here pretty soon. We had some interesting guests, so it'll be exciting to see, hopefully decently funny. So the brief, probably 6th grade German I took kind of got me through one of the episodes, but we'll have to just wait and see on that one.
Next up is quarterback Geno Smith, who, like many of his teammates, was also asked about going up against Russ.
You can't block that out, man. I mean, that would be, a little naive of me to say that. I do understand, everything around that's going on. Russell was the man here for a while, and I know there's going to be emotions on both sides, but I'm not caught up into that. I'm just focused on taking care of business.
Smith, like DK, also touched on the skill of the Broncos secondary.
They got great players everywhere. On that back end, you got young Pat Surtain, who's probably one of the better corners in the league right now. And then they got Darby on the other side, who's a veteran, who's played a ton of good football. They have Kareem Jackson back there as well as Justin Simmons, and they got great players. They got really great players who can make plays. You can see they communicate and they talk well. So it's really up to us to go out there and like I said, just really focus on what we have to do well and we have to do to execute. And the league is filled with great players. They're all around. So every week's going to be a tough week, but we're definitely up for the challenge.
While Smith might be looking to test that secondary on occasion, some of us might rather see him hand the ball off to Rashaad Penny, who was happy to have a relatively healthy camp.
I mean, it was definitely a blessing. But then again, I don't think about my injury history no more because, again, I just really think my knee injury was a setback for a lot of injuries I had. And, I mean, I torn the majority of everything in my left knee. Like, I was told that it would take me a longer time than expected to come back and play football again. So I kind of told myself I beat the odds with a lot of things. I was thankful to come back and, do what I did. But again, yeah, I'm really past the injuries. And I don't think, and this is the best I felt like for a whole year. So I feel really confident going in.
Running back Chris Carson retired this offseason And Penny provided an update on Carson State.
He's great. He's great. He just it's the next part of his life now. And you just wish the best for him, really. I mean, I know he kind of missed it a little bit, but yeah, me and him just still have small talk. And I'm trying to get him to come out here to, come to the game on Monday night. So that would be cool. He's still mean a lot to us as running backs. Again, he really set the standard of how, like when you have like Sean Alexander and then you have Marshawn Lynch and then, all the other good running backs, Thomas Rawls that came through. Chris really set the standard of that old way of how the running backs, the hard nose and, wanting to get the drive going, get the game flowing. And, that's just who he was. So we really miss him. So when I watch highlights of him, it kind of like bring back memories, when everybody's sitting in the team offensive meeting room and we get to watch highlights of him. It just gives us a motivational spark. Like, that's how we got to start off a game. Get these guys excited, get the defense to feel how we play and, get the game rolling because his style was just like no other. I felt it made defense really fear our offense.
Let's get back to Captain Quandre Diggs and his thoughts on getting back out in front of the 12s.
Come on, man. I love the 12s, man. I know what it's going to be on Monday. So for me, I'm excited. It always kind of takes me back to my first game really playing here as a Seahawk. I think it was Monday Night Football against Minnesota, and it was just like I'm standing next to B-Mac, and I can't hear anything. It's just like, bro, you got to tell me what to do because I'm new. I don't know any of the plays like that. I'm just like, bro, and I couldn't really hear him. So it was just like, I'm trying to tell the young guys, like, bro, you're going to be standing next to somebody. You're not going to be able to hear anything. So it's our job to go out there and put a good product on the field, and, hopefully we can do that.
Before we get to comments from the three main coaches, let's hear from the players who will be taking on their former team, starting with tight end Noah Fant.
To me, it's like yeah, I came from Denver. We're playing them, but once it comes down to it, full speed in the game, I'm not going to be thinking about any of that. So it'll be cool to see my guys before the game. But once the ball snapped, it's we're playing football, so I'm ready for it.
Defensive lineman Shelby Harris wants to keep his emotions in check, but he also wants his former team to have second thoughts about making the trade.
As a player who's been a part of something like this before, when I was playing with the Broncos, I got drafted by the Raiders. So playing the Raiders the first time, I've learned from my mistakes of the past of, you can't put too much emotion into it. Otherwise, it kind of sometimes will get you off your game plan. You got to just play football. You just got to go out there and play your game, do what you've been doing. It's my 9th year in the league. Keep doing what got me here. And, obviously, seeing a bunch of guys, playing against a bunch of guys that you've practiced against the last 5 years and, played a bunch of games with, shared a lot of memories with, that's for after the game. We could talk about all that stuff, remember all those good memories after the game. We got to handle business and come out there and 1-0. This is my first time being traded. I've been cut before, but this is my first time being traded. And I just, I want to do everything I can and do my part to make sure that Seattle came out, the winners of this trade. Make sure that, after this game, maybe they look out and they'll be like, damn, maybe we traded the wrong person.
Harris's new defensive coordinator, Clint Hurtt, spoke about how he is approaching the matchup against Russell Wilson.
Obviously, just with Russ, great competitor, great talent, great player, as we all know. Just the biggest thing is obviously just the discipline that you have to be able to play with when you go against a guy, that is mobile and active in the pocket and whatnot. And obviously, great throwing the ball vertically down the field. So there's a lot of challenges, but you have to play disciplined, consistent football for 60 minutes.
Hurtt also made a point of mentioning the other weapons on Denver's offense.
Schematically, they're going to be different than what they were. Javonte Williams, the running back, is a hell of a football player. He's one of the best backs in the league, in my opinion, just watching him play. Really impressive. And obviously, Melvin Gordon's got a very decorated career, so we have a high level of respect for him as well. I'm familiar with the receivers with Judy and Sutton. But obviously, with Javonte Williams, he's definitely has my attention as somebody we have to make sure we take care of. The whole goal is you want to try to make teams one-dimensional, so he's definitely a factor.
Flipping to the offensive side of the ball, here's what offensive coordinator Shane Waldron had to say about the Broncos secondary.
All good secondaries will talk about their rushers and the edge and getting those plays shortened so they don't have to cover for as long. But they got a great secondary. I mean, they got guys that have worked together a long time that can really communicate well. And then with Williams coming in there as well, a guy that history in the division, all that. So, they just got a good group of players in the secondary that match up routes really well. They rarely have any sort of mistakes. They can go ahead and attack the ball when it's up there. And then when you got Gregory and Chubb rushing off the edge, there's always going to be that time clock as far as holding the ball back there that's going to give those guys a better chance.
Should fans boo Russ? Should they cheer? Let's hear from Pete Carroll, who spoke about the 12's potential reactions to Russ's return.
You're either competing or you're not. I'm leaving up to 12s. And, it's game time and we're going for it. And so however they take it, I'll follow their lead on that. I mean, I'm not going to be involved with that kind of opportunity to react, so I don't have to make that decision. I will see what happens, but I'm leaving up to 12s. I think they'll know exactly what to do.
As we get into injuries, some unfortunate news as long snapper Tyler Ott is out of this game and may need surgery on his shoulder.
Well, the good stuff is that I think he worked 6 games with J-My, and so they've been together before. And so he's got background there. So that really helps, just in the kind of the assurance that we're going to be okay and all that. And he looked great. It wasn't like we didn't skip a beat. So he's a pro. You can tell.
Defensive lineman Alton Robinson has been ruled out of the Broncos game along with Ott, and there may be some long-term concerns with his knee.
Possibly, yeah. We're talking about that now, trying to determine what's necessary for him.
Cornerback Artie Burns is recovering from a groin injury and likely will not play.
I think we have him as doubtful. It's a long ways to get back from that. Usually doubtful means, I don't know. Well, you can mean whatever you want with it, but he's a long ways from getting out there.
Left guard Damian Lewis is questionable for the game.
He's in that same category. He practiced some and got some stuff done. So he's really close to being ready to go. So he's questionable also.
Also questionable is running back Ken Walker.
Man, he looked good running yesterday, and he was in the walkthrough today. Seeing him work out like really close to a full tilt yesterday, it reminds us, and I had the offensive staff come out and watch him work out, so they could see him, of the kind of athlete that he is. He's very, very explosive. Whether he makes it for game time, it's the next couple of days, will tell us some more. I don't know. But it's really important that we get him back and he stays back once we get him. And an unusual recovery, we just have to respect it. So, but he looked great.
And before we end, one last fun note. You might have heard some unfamiliar voices in the press conferences this week if you watched them on YouTube. And it was the ESPN Brazil crew who came to broadcast the game.
I love to hear that they're excited. I know we're going to head to Germany later in the year, and we got a lot of fans there too. So our reach is out there, and I'm thrilled to hear that we do have fans there. Well, with all of the flavor and the texture of your country and what seems to be the way you guys live your lives, I hope that we can get you fired up and excite you and keep that connection with us. We need it. We love it. We'd love to have you, and we really welcome it.
That's going to do it for today's show. Thanks to Wilson Kahn for helping to produce this episode. Follow him out on Twitter at Wilson_Kahn, CONN. You can follow me out on Twitter at SeahawkersPod. Be sure you are subscribed on YouTube. We are going to be going live after the game for a live and uncatfished show as we react to the Seahawks game against the Denver Broncos. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be a little bit late, especially for those of you on the East Coast. But hey, we're going to have some Week 1 football to talk about this coming Monday night. And so until then, go Hawks.